Hello, this is Nina, and today I actually wanted you to participate in a little bit of paint and meditation. I don't know how you guys meditate, how you kind of get into the flow, but this is one of the ways where I get into the flow and I get into the state of just being. So I just wanted to try out, I got this in the mail recently, some new beam paints, and I just wanted to swap them and try them out a little bit and just enjoy this process of paint and just being in the now and the colors and the flow. And I just wanted to have a chat with you guys while I'm doing that. So I don't know if there's something that interests you, but this is something that interests me. So let's see where the talk goes. But I just wanted to kind of jump on and be in this state of just flow today. So for those of you who are interested, this is a Strathmore 400 series sketchbook, and these are beam paints handmade by Indigenous people in Canada. And so these are also vegan and animal friendly. And I have some water, and I have my Aquafine Dane Laramie brush and some tissue paper here as well. So I'm just going to swatch these colors here over here, and then maybe make a little bit of painting here as well. So while I'm doing that, I'm just going to chat a little bit, because what came to me the other day was this feeling of the need to just log off and just be, not judge anything, not be part of anything, not do anything, but just be, just be in the flow, be in the meditative state, or be in the connection with nature, that kind of being. And I feel it's really important now, of course, as I've been talking about this really fiery energy that's going on now in March. And I think we all feel it. I mean, it's also showing up on the news everywhere, and it's a lot going on. So that's when we need it the most, to just be in the flow, to find that something for us that just makes us be in the moment, be in the here and now. So that's why I do painting. I sit down and I just pull out some paints and some brushes and some paper, and I don't know where I'm going to go. Sometimes I just do as I'm doing now, where I just watch the colors, just look at the colors, have seeing just the joy of the colors themselves, or I feel the need to create something, and I can be anything from just a flower to a landscape to just making an abstract painting as well, where I just let the colors kind of flow over the paper. That's what's so fun about watercolors as well, is that it flows and you can make pretty much anything with it. So that's one of the ways where I just get into the flow of being present. Another thing is, of course, going for walks, which I love. I have a dog, a flat-coated retriever called Nemo, and I sometimes take him with me out on walks. Not every day, because I don't have the energy level always. But my fiance goes walking with him twice a day, so it's not like he needs the walk with me, but when I feel up for it, I really love just being outside in nature and just putting one step in front of the other and just be, And so that's another way. And also, just if I don't feel like walking, then I sometimes just sit outside. We have a bench that's kind of all year round out in the garden, where I can sit up against the wall. And so I just bring a cup of coffee or tea or something and just sit out there in the sun or in the rain if I need to, just looking at nature, just listening to nature, just being, not doing, not having to say anything or do anything, just be, and observe nature. So that's something I like to do as well, where I'm just kind of in the flow. And then, of course, it's meditation, that I often do in the sofa, where you normally see me on my videos. where I kind of cuddle up with some good cushions and a blanket and maybe something warm beside me in the glass, like a cup of tea. And I have my book, my journal in front of me, and I just see what comes to me, you know. And sometimes I just journal. Sometimes I just write down my emotions or how I'm feeling or something that happened that day, just to get it down on paper, because sometimes my ego needs to understand something. You know, I'm also that person where my ego can get really active and just need to understand, and that's totally okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not necessary, of course, which me as a higher self understands, but my ego sometimes needs answers. And so I just sit and write in my journal, you know, let it all out. If there's emotions that come up, I always just let them out as they are. Maybe I write a little bit about them on paper. Oh, that was a beautiful lavender. You know, and just let the emotions come out. Just let it be there on the paper. And sometimes also when I then look back at it, it's very often that I see that with the new eyes, you know. When I read it back later, maybe after meditation or something, I read it back and I'm like, oh, okay, I see now from this perspective why I reacted the way I did, or why I did what I did. You know, it's a new perspective on things. So if you write it down and then you meditate and you go back and read it, there's a lot for the ego to learn in that way. Let's see, I'm just going to do some fun stuff here, see what I can come up with, do some creativity here as well. No, so, you know, it's many ways that we can kind of get into that flow of the state of just being. And this is one of them. Now I'm not going to do anything planned. I'm just going to let the colors flow on the paper, which is so fun with watercolor. Anyways, no, so yeah, what do you do to get into the flow of just being, you know? Is there something particular that you do, or that you want to do in order for yourself to get into the flow? I also do, I knit, and that can also make me get into the flow. And I also play the piano and sing, and that can also, and sometimes play the guitar a little bit. Not very good at guitar, but I know not enough to be able to sing a little bit with the guitar. But, you know, that also kind of gets me into the flow, especially when I play the piano. It's just, you know, putting your hands down on the keys and just letting them flow, or bring out one of the old books from when I was studying, you know, to just refresh my memory as to old tunes that I once knew, you know. So there's many things that I can do, you know, and I just love being in that flow, away from the stress, away from having to do anything, away from demands from anybody, you know. And yeah, see how this flows on the paper? Very fun. No, so it's a matter of finding your thing, okay? It's not, I mean, painting is not for everybody. It's not everybody loves doing this like I do, but if you can find something that will help you get into some sort of a flow where you don't think, you're just here, you just are, kind of. I think that will be very helpful. So, and this is one way. This is one way of doing that. So, I think I need some more blue here. Yeah, so that was one thing. And I think it's really important nowadays, with this situation going on in the world as it is right now, to be able to stay in the flow. And remember, when we're in the flow, we that's when we are, of course, oh, that was exploding. We are not listening to anybody else. If anybody knocks on our door, we're busy. You need to be thorough about that part, so that nobody disturbs you when you are meditating or being in your flow. We tend to let distractions pull us out way too easy, I think. So when I sit down to meditate, I make sure that I'm alone, or that I've asked, people to not come in, because I need to be in the flow. I need to be alone, and they respect that, so that I don't feel like I have to jump up and stop what I'm doing in order to please somebody or do something, or So just the idea of not having to be anything or do anything is so liberating. Just going to pull some normal just water here, because what happens then is that it pushes the colors. So yeah, for me it's very important to just be in the flow, to just be. And that's when I also feel the most in contact with the all that is, with God's source energy, if you will, is when I'm just in a flow of being, where I kind of turn off my chatter in my head and I just do, like now, when we just look at these colors flow on the paper. It's so beautiful, and not letting myself be told anything. I just do, I just am. It's so much fun. And yeah, this is really therapeutic as well. I can tell you that much. Since you know that I've been struggling with anxiety and panic attacks and those kind of things, you understand that this is something that has really helped me a lot, So, of course, I recommend it to anyone. Well, let's put some more pure water in a second. Just need to pull that out so it doesn't become muddy. If you mix the colors too much, it becomes muddy. You don't want that. Anyways, and I'm not a professional artist at all. I started painting when was it? I stumbled across my father's paints. I think it was 2020. Yeah, the fall of 2020, I think it was. And I started out by making Christmas cards for family and friends. And then I just kind of got into it and more. And then I started watching YouTube videos, and I started or buying some books, and I got some more professional equipment. And after a while, things started to look kind of fun. So I can another day I can show you maybe a little bit of some more stuff that I made that's kind of more professional. And this is just play with color and just see how the colors blend, since this is a new palette that I got. See how they how much they flow. So yeah, this is something that I really enjoy doing, people. And it's just very relaxing. And I know one of the people that I follow is called Emma Lefebvre. She struggled with anxiety and panic attacks, and so she started painting as therapy. And she started out by making kind of this back as a background, and then she waited for it to dry, and then she took like a, do I have that here? Don't I have that? Yeah, she took like a Sharpie, and then she wrote quotes for herself, uplifting quotes for herself on top of the dried artwork. And that's kind of how she started. And now, of course, she has over 300,000 followers on YouTube, and she's given out a book, and she has made brushes and all that stuff. So she has really come far with her hobby and her therapy, which was painting. So it can take you anywhere pretty much. So yeah, I also wanted to remind you today, when we are talking about being in the flow, do you know who you are? Do you remember who you are? Do you remember that you are God's source energy beaming from the God Source energy that you are light and that you came here to experience what it's like to be human, you know. So when we get into that part of us and we see things from that perspective, then whatever it is that's kind of going on in our lives doesn't seem that big anymore. It's just okay, you know. It can be the way it is. Anything can kind of be the way it is. It's okay. And so, can we get into that perspective today? Can you remember who you are? Can you enjoy just being the observer of your life as it is, without the need for changing it, you know, without the need for judging it? Okay, now my doorbell rings. I have to cut this short, my beautifuls people. Have a beautiful day wherever you are. I hope you appreciated this little thing. Till the next time I see ya.